don't skip the most important part of that training process. Step up, show them how to do it.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
Welcome back to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
And I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
CEOs, this one's for you and it's for everyone, and that is the power in the demo. We're going to take some time to unearth, Dr. Stephen, some things that we got to be reminded of at our recent conversion retention immersion that we both got to be a part of in Nashville, Tennessee. I was thrilled to be able to have you, our awesome team, and pretty much the people from the rest of the country coming in and descend on my city for a weekend of just an amazing time together, training and collaborating and leveling our teams, ourselves, our mindsets, our focus up. Everything was transformed. I know for me, we're in the business of transformation and not just giving people information. I truly believe that that happened, Dr. Stephen. And one theme that I loved that we started the weekend with, and we kept it, we stayed faithful to it the whole time, which was the theme around education.
That's right.
And, I know that in my clinic, one of the things that I would say to my patients on what you might call your day 3 break-in is we would invite our patient base to be a part of the continuing education culture inside of our office. So we would say, myself or one of the team members, we would say, and I would say, if it was me, I would say, hey, Stephen, you realize that, every year in order to keep my chiropractic license up and in good standing, I actually have to do 24 hours of continuing education every single year for the state of Tennessee to continue to be able to practice with a license legally. Why do you suppose that the state board requires that of me and of all of us doctors, right? And I would ask my patient that, and then they would usually say something like, because they want you to, be compliant. They want you to, deliver the best care. They want to make sure that, you're doing things according to the standard, et cetera. And all those things are right. And then I would say, yeah, absolutely. And I would say it's because, they want to make sure that we stay on the cutting edge so that you as a patient and this community who we've been called to serve continues to get the best possible care and we get the best possible outcomes. And so I said, so just like for me, it's a requirement that, I continue my educational process long after I went to school for a long time, but I continue to go to school. We've seen that, it's equally as important for you as a patient here. And so we have a policy inside of this practice where continuing education is actually a part of your patient journey and your experience here. And so while we're required to do 24 hours a year, we require our patients to do 3 hours a year. And the first hour, we're going to go ahead and take care of that right away because it's actually your first workshop, the Better Results Faster workshop. So we're going to take care of the first. But we simply ask that as you look ahead over the next 12 months, that you identify 2 different workshops that you would like to attend that's going to help you on your journey with optimizing your health and achieving your goals. So my team, they're going to help you. They're going to show you what the upcoming, body signals workshops are over the next 6 months. We have those already mapped out for you. And we'd like you to pick at least 1, if not 2. This way you continue to stay up to speed and you get the best possible outcomes. Does that make sense? Is that something you can do? Right. So that would be an example of a role play. Like I just demonstrated to, my team, what it would look like to engage with a new patient, somebody who's new to our family, and let them know this is how we do things here. It wasn't a surprise to the patient because I actually planted the seed earlier. And we set the seed, we watered it, and then we followed through by actually holding people accountable. With that being said, Dr. Stephen, that was just a little bit of a demonstration of something that we did in our practice to increase the likelihood that a patient in our practice would engage in the continuous education that we deliver at our monthly workshop. And that, my friends, is the topic that Dr. Stephen, you and I want to have a conversation about today, which is really the four parts that go into creating a culture of continuing education, which in education will be the key to building a lifetime family wellness practice, which Dr. Stephen was what we were focused on in Nashville.
That's right. It's, Dr. Pete, it's, as I listen to you, education, it was not just a theme for this particular seminar and this weekend, which was the red thread through the conversion and retention immersion, but it's actually, it goes far beyond that. And it stretches all the way to attraction and through team building and collections, right? So it's all about patient education. Like when you think about marketing is creating value. That is education, right? So the conversion process is sales, compelling people to invest their limited resources in your services to achieve their goals and solve their problems. That takes patient education. Then there's retention, which is shifting people's belief system around what it means to be healthy, what it takes to be healthy, and what they should expect from their health, and their behaviors matter a lot. And one of their new behaviors is keeping their spine and nervous system clear and healthy, right? So that's the retention component of it. And of course, team building is, primarily about education, right? So teaching people not just all of the above if they're going to work on your team, but teaching them how to act as a world-class team of A players, right? And then collections, of course, is a reflection of all of the above, right? So, money follows value, and we talk about value all the time, right? So people have to understand what that means, right? Because in the absence of value, cost is the only thing people will focus on. If cost is the only context or reference point, guess what? You're in big trouble, right? So money follows value. Well, there's 4 stages to generating value, right? There's the creating value, right? Which is the education process. There is the delivering value, which is the execution process. There's the adding value, which is the patient's perception. It's the perception process. And then there is capturing value, which is the collection or transaction process, right? So this is all education, Dr. Pete, right? And recognizing like what we were doing this weekend, we really zeroed in. We were just focused back onto the give, love, and serve components of chiropractic. And we identified that the chiropractic adjustment is priceless. So we give the chiropractic adjustment away. And the metaphors we used were, what do you charge somebody for chest compressions and CPR, right? So what do you charge somebody for a Heimlich maneuver, right? So it's like, it seems ridiculous, right? So what do you charge somebody for a chiropractic adjustment, which is the Heimlich maneuver for the nervous system, right? So we helped the audience recognize it's like, oh yeah, right. It's kind of silly to put a price tag on it, right? You're removing the interference of the flow of the intelligence that heals the body and keeps the body alive, right? What do you charge for that? It's priceless. So we give them the care. We love everyone and we serve them by educating them. And the monies that we receive is a tuition that people pay us for the education that we deliver in the practice that will change the way they think about their health and their life and their family's health and their family's life forever, right? That's what we're getting paid for. And when you make that shift, Dr. B, and you recognize it's like, oh, actually, the money that I get paid, the revenues, the collection is for tuition, for an education that's happening in the practice. We just sunk that deep. That was the flag we put right in the ground at the beginning of the immersion. And we made sure that people understood. It was like, what do you have to teach people? The dirty dozen. The 12 concepts that everybody needs to know, and they'll never leave chiropractic, right? There's 12 things everyone needs to know, and they'll never leave chiropractic. And that was the content, right, of the workshops, of the table talk, of the progress exam, progress reports, re-exam report, all of the different sessions were, in essence, delivering on the dirty dozen principles, premises, promises, right, that you make through the dirty dozen. And we taught people the importance of making sure that you start strong and setting clear expectations and agreements so it doesn't feel awkward or hard to do it, right? So, and then making sure that you do that day 4, better results faster, like you said. It was like, ultimately, you teach these concepts at the workshop, and then you remind them what you taught them tableside, right? That was the big takeaway. Is like, if you find table talk is really hard to do, it's because you're trying to educate the patients and teach them concepts tableside. Nobody's table talk is that good. Teach them the concepts in the workshop, create the space and the time to break down a broken belief system, shape the new belief system inside out versus outside in, teach them the 12 concepts, the dirty dozen, in the workshop, in a setting where they're ready They're available. They have the time to digest, and you have the time to take them on a journey. And then remind them what you taught them tableside. So Dr. Pete, it was so awesome to land that plane on Saturday at the end of the day and actually not just tell them what we told them, not just teach them the Dirty Dozen and teach them about table talk, but we got to show them, right? So we went through a demo. We went through a demonstration, and the demo was you and I with Dr. Lona and Dr. Sebastian, the four of us just rotating through two patients on two tables and one doctor on deck and just going back and forth and doing the Dirty Dozen. We each did 6 ticks back and forth, mic'd up. And we went through 2 rounds of the Dirty Dozen, so 24 ticks, and the audience loved it. They just got to watch it. There was the demo, right? We did the demonstration. And then we had the competition where we said, hey, who's got game? And we opened it up, and we had a prize. We had given away one of the portable tables that we had made up, and people charged the stage. They were like, I want to show my game. I got it. I want to do this. And we had that great tournament, table talk tournament. Dr. B, both of us walked away. I was like, man, you know what? It was so powerful to be able to demonstrate it, because what we realized was in the feedback and the masterminds afterwards following is that for many doctors, they had never seen it before. We make this assumption that people know what we're talking about, but they had not seen it before, right? So that's really where I feel like the gold is for today's conversation is as CEOs, as business owners, as leaders, as mentors, when you're coaching up your associate doctors or your team members, they've never seen it before, right? Yeah. So don't forget that third step in really training a person. Teach them, then show them. That's the demo, the demonstration. Demo, then let them role play, and then there's feedback. Make sure you don't lose the weight and the power and the importance of the demo.
It's good. So I wanna hit on a couple of things. First thing I want to hit on is, again, going off of the feedback, when you just went through how all 5 domains are actually directly connected to education, your education system, the education process, which is huge. And that's the value that you provide. And you just laid that out so well. I want to double click on one thing, and that is the feedback that I've received from several doctors over the last couple of weeks who had it reignited within them the importance of the Better Results Faster workshop, teaching the concepts, and then the table talk being reminding them of those things. So what the big takeaway that I wanted to share here today, because it's worth repeating and it's something that I just want to make sure we're all acutely aware of, is that the doctors were saying that the workshop actually, since then, I've seen what it's been doing for me. That actually teaching the workshop, I realized I needed that. Like, it's actually changed me doing the workshop and getting back into it and doing it with a greater level of passion and conviction and purpose and intention and structure and all of that. And so I wanted to share this with all of us that, Doc Steven, you and I would talk about how if I told one of the docs, I said, if I worked for you and you didn't allow me to teach the workshop every week, I would quit. I would quit. I wouldn't be able to work there. I wouldn't be able to be there in that environment and not let me at it. Let me in, put me in, let me have one of them, please.
I gotta get this off my chest.
Yeah. It would be, I wouldn't be able to function without it. And I realized that, for so many who are getting reminded of that and having that, in a sense, that epiphany moment, again, we're giving the epiphany. You're providing a place for an epiphany for the patient, and you're receiving your own in the process, which is amazing. And so, number one, I just want to share that with everyone, that as you're listening, if you're not feeling that, then I want to challenge you and encourage you. You got to get back to that feeling, because it's a feeling. That feeling that you get when you're like, man, I just delivered. You said, I told the truth. I told the whole truth, and I told nothing but the truth. And God helped me with that. Thank you. And it's just put yourself in an environment where you are, in a sense, forced to do that, where you're challenging yourself to do that on a regular basis. What that does to you and for you and then for others is then translated onto the table, right? But some of us try to skip a step. You can't skip the step. trying to put the table talk, we talk about the lift and doing that deadlift, that big old tire, from the old CrossFit days. You got that big massive, and you're trying to lift that thing, and you're clean, and you press, and you push out, lift, and you're trying to, and it's like, man, if you don't do the workshop, that's every single day in your practice.
That's every adjustment.
Every adjustment. And guess what, Dr. Steve, most people do? Don't do the lift. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. It's going to throw out my back. I'm not going to do it. And so we just don't do it. And so, Dr. Steven, this was so powerful that, the question, what's in it for me? That's what people most think. I'm going to talk to you as a listener. What's in it for you? It's going to change you. It'll completely transform you from above, down, inside out, delivering the message, sharing the message, and doing it with conviction, with purpose, with intention. It's the heart. That's the heart, right? You get a chance to do that on a regular basis, which is absolutely incredible. The second thing I wanted to say was in regards to the role play, which I loved. And I love that you had this idea. I remember you pinged us maybe a couple weeks before the emergence, like, hey guys, I had this idea. And we were like, let's go. This sounds awesome. Let's have it. Let's have at it. So I'll tell you, it was awesome. But to be in the audience, I was just thinking about this. What you saw was 3,000 a week table talk. Because with the four of us up there, I mean, that's 3,000 a week. That's what we, those are our numbers. That's probably more than 3,000 a week, probably like more like 3,500 a week. That was the power in that moment. And I felt it, right? As a patient, because I got to be a patient, and then I got to be a doc. And it was just in that moment, so powerful. And I was reminded, and this is what we're driving home as a point. One of the points today is that as a CEO, please never lose the value and the importance around your ability to demonstrate and demonstrating for your people. As you build and scale, and you maybe are a bit removed from some of the day-to-day operations, some of the things that maybe you were, when you launched and built, it was all on you. And you built that fitness, that muscle that helped you become the leader worth following, that then people now have hooked, hitched their wagon to, and now you've got this whole fleet coming with. Please don't lose the sight of, or the importance of, your ability just to go in and demonstrate. And Dr. Steven, I'll say this one thing. One of my favorite things in the clinic that I love to do is embarrass myself by being a CA. And I used to say, all right, who wants to go first? And be like, fine, I'll go first. And I'll do the CA job. And I'll completely, I do a pretty good job, to be honest. Yep. I think I do. But, I'm like, all right, now break it down. Tell me what I could have done better, And I have my CA be the patient, and I'll be the CA, and then we'll flop roles. And then we role played. And I'll tell you, role play, Dr. Steven, after a demonstration, especially when someone has really puts themselves out there as a leader, I'll tell you what, it's an invitation for everybody to say, you know what, I'm doing this, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to go all in. Yeah. You'll see a level of performance from your team exponentially increased when you go in and you demonstrate first, Dr. Steven. There's so much power in that. It takes humility. It takes courage, because it never gets old, right? You're always going to have the courage to do it. But I'll tell you what it will give as far as courage to your people and help them infuse that energy, man. I'll tell you, it's absolutely transformative.
Yeah. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, what's a video worth? Think about that. The amount to the human brain, like the data, the input is almost immeasurable, right? Now do it live, like where you're literally in the environment and you're participating and you're part of a demonstration. It's like, you talk about the acceleration of training your people, right? So to be able to demonstrate and then role play like this, that point, that piece of it is the easiest one to skip over. And it's like, okay, I'm going to teach you what you should do. And it should sound something like this and do something like this. Okay, who's first? It's like, whoa, you just skipped the most important part of your role, right? Mm-hmm. So, which is demonstrate and then let them role play. And then your second most important role, which is give them feedback, right? So, Dr. Pete, it was just amazing to feel it, to be caught up in it. And it just set me back. And I was just, what it made me realize was how much we take for granted, right? Like we take for granted that the younger docs, or even just doesn't even have to be a newer doc, right? When I say younger doc, I don't mean chronological age, but people who have been in the profession for 15 years, 20, 25 years, 30 years or more, they might not have ever seen it, right? They've never had eyes on it and experienced it, right? So whether you're talking about compelling table talk, or maybe it's a compelling report of findings, or maybe it's a workshop delivered in such a way that it moves somebody so they quit their job, go back to school and become a chiropractor, right? Like BJ said. So, maybe they've never seen an outside talk executed well, or a spinal screening, right? Or a one-on-one meeting somebody at a coffee break or a part, and being able to see it. It's like watching somebody hit a golf ball perfectly, or surf a wave beautifully, or deadlift 500 pounds right in front of you. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you could do that like that. Like immediately I've just the plasticity of my belief of like, look what just happened. I just saw somebody else do it, right? It's the breaking the 4-minute mile, right? So next thing you know, everyone's breaking the 4-minute mile. It's like humans respond to that. It's like, let me show you. So leaders, our message to you today is don't skip the most important part of that training process. Step up, show them how to do it, right? So in the military, they have show one, teach one, or show one, do one, teach one, as a methodology of how to scale, right? How to make sure you accelerate mastery and make sure that you create that level of scalability that's going to allow you to really grow the business, grow the practice, and grow the people that call you leader.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner, dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's Coach Dr. Sebastian with their Remarkable Practice, and today I am with Joe Hagan, one of our success partners. By the way, this next June 6th, we're going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. Joe, you're going to be there? Oh, yes, perfect. We're going to do the conversion retention live immersion. It's a full 2-day. And we're going to have the biggest event, Joe. So you're going to be talking to a lot of docs. You're going to be really in front of a lot of awesome people. So
love it.
This time that we have together, I want to make sure that we get the most out of, and that our viewers and listeners are getting the most out of. So what's the company you represent? What are the problems that you solve for our clients?
Mm-hmm.
And who's your avatar? Like literally, who's your ideal client? So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about, or tell us about your company.
Sure, and thank you. Wealth Colony, I started in 2014. That's my company. And 2013, actually, I started. Rolling from 2013 into 2014. So it's been over a decade ago after spending 20 years on Wall Street. Got introduced to the blockchain early and really started hearing a lot of what a lot of people speak about today. Nobody was speaking about 10 years ago. And so there's some opportunities, from mining Bitcoin to learning how to trade the stuff to actually opening a wallet and doing all these things. The future was going to be the blockchain the way for 20 years, getting onto Wall Street in 1989, watched the internet come on the scene. And the blockchain was going to be even more transformational than the internet. So that's why I started Wealth Colony. And the first things really that we did was invest in, certain mining operations. Like I said, in my house, I had a Litecoin mining operation. We started and invested in a Bitcoin mining operation. And more and more and more people looked at me, Sebastian, and went from like, what are you doing with that equipment, to a couple of years later, like, oh my God, tell me more. I'm reading more, I'm hearing more about blockchain, crypto, and all of these things. So we continue to build Wealth Colony's ecosystem. And really, we just help people understand that Web3 is coming. You need to be a part of it. Don't fall behind it, or you could have learned all the lessons of the internet, right? Been at the forefront, or try and catch up. And understand about AI, how you could use it, Web3, and things like cryptocurrencies, and how particular our avatar is really small businesses, accountants, chiropractors, doctors, professionals that want to understand it and be able to trade it, but more importantly, use it to help them scale and protect their business.
So Wealth Colony is specifically wealth accumulation, leveraging cryptocurrency?
Well, it started out as myself and a bunch of partners that invested early in some cryptocurrencies, and it's really transformed into an ecosystem where we educate each other, really educate folks on not only investing in it, but using it, how to use it to really enhance and scale your business, because that's really important. Because we're at a stage now, 10 years into this, where utility is coming, right? And I'll give you an example, right? And I hope this lands. When I first got onto Wall Street in 1989, Microsoft came out with Microsoft Office like a year later. And when you went to people, they said, Word? Why do I need Word? I got a typewriter. Why do I need Excel? I got Johnny in accounting. Like, they didn't want to, it took 6, 7, 8 years to really grasp. As the internet became more affordable and as the price of PCs came down, oh my God, I have a digital office. These tools are great. Well, I think the adoption is going to be even quicker in Web3 because people already have Web 1 and Web 2. And the sad part is, if I ask you or a lot of other people, do you know what Web 3 is? They don't know. And
I don't know.
It's really not hard to understand and grasp. And once you do, you're like, oh, I get it. It's a place where Web3 is where you own all your own content. You're in charge of your own, data, and you don't have to be beholden to Amazon Web Services or one of these other centralized companies that can shut you down. Instead, you can be in charge of your own destiny, and you can use all of your own content and monetize it, right? So it's important that I think we're early. We've been early in a certain project, and the whole adoption cycle is still super early. So I think the biggest wins, in any industry, in any cycle, is when you're really early. You have to be patient, but that's when you get the most bang for your buck and you really start seeing results.
Okay, so if I'm a doctor who has some extra cash, instead of using the cash to invest in stocks, Wealth Colony helps us be more intelligent around investing our extra cash.
Yeah, but
And
also not just for yourself with your extra cash, really into your business as well. I'll give you an example. Like,
okay.
we had a company that coached people and helped them, and I have partners here that got doctors on the phone, on Zoom calls, and showed them how to trade for themselves, on Coinbase, how to open an account, how to protect, how to be vigilant. Like, it's self-sovereign money is a beautiful thing, but you have to be vigilant, with your seed phrase, with your passwords and all of that. So we've done that, and we continue to do that in the world of cryptocurrency. But in the world of Web3, I'll give you an example. NPayMe is a tool, just like Microsoft Office was a tool. And one thing I love about chiropractors is, in the circles I run, and I'm friends with them. So a lot of folks, for example, at the last TRP, at the same time in Arizona, my daughter Lily was in a big softball tournament, right? And I look at, she was in between games and she was able to get adjusted, go to the hotel there at the show, and meet Bobby in Australia, and see all the regular docs that are rock stars. And she got adjusted, said hello, and some of these folks support her, right? She has hit her dream of getting a scholarship to Notre Dame to play softball, right?
Nice.
Along the way, I have doctors around the country that, through this network at TRP, I've been able to, like, we were in a car accident in Tennessee. Dr. Roger or Sheila, someone got me Dr. Oz in Tennessee. I've been in California. I've been in Chicago, where her back is hurting because she's a pitcher. She's a strong kid. It would lock up and tighten up, and we'd get her adjusted,
Right.
get a massage. So there's a special place in my heart for chiropractors. And one of the things I've noticed as we're educating and collaborating, making friends and doing business, is that they think alike. We all think alike, and from the business standpoint, they all use pretty much social media. They have a presence. Well, social media is just Web 2. That's all it is, right? And we could have a quick conversation offline about Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. Web 3 is just all in the palm of your hand. You're controlling it. You're not going to an operator to say, operator, patch me through to 555-1111, right? You're saying,
Right.
boom, I'm going in, I'm in charge. And when you do that with Web3, you're going to do like what Disney, I mean, as a chiropractor, what is your assets? What is your content? I don't know. It's your wonderful personality, your services, your talent level, your clients, your content, your product, your supplements, whatever that you have, right? That is part of your everyday business. You can leverage that and monetize it. And so, for example, we have a tool that is in the process of being rolled out. It's not ready for prime time yet, but it's been tested, beta tested. It's called Pay Me. And if you're out there in social media on Web2, wouldn't it be great, Dr. Sebastian, if you can do some of the same exact things you're doing now, only it takes way less bandwidth and way less money, and you're getting way better results? And that's Web3. That's smart contracts. That's where you can do things like with an Pay Me, which is just a Web3 tool. It's a widget. It'll allow you to do cross-platform engagement. Like you can do a loyalty program where you want your clients, your patients, not just to be repeat patients, but rabid fans. Oh my God, I love Dr. Sebastian. Oh my God, I want to just write a testimonial. I want to retweet. I want to do all these different things. Join a Facebook group, whatever it is. There's a lot of different tasks that you can have them do across a bunch of different social media platforms, and you don't have to sit there and track them and reward them. You can reward their behavior that builds your business with a smart contract, really just paying them in settlement. And the payment and settlement happens in real time without you having to track it. So that's just one Web3 advantage over Web2, which, when people start using it and they realize, wow, I used to do all this work and I'd send out a tweet and I may get 100 responses. And now I did this and I got thousands
Yeah.
and I'm not even watching it. You know what I mean?
So Web3 is like what cryptocurrency is for the banking system, basically. Web3 is
Web3 is really just a blockchain. It's the internet that is, on the blockchain where
and
you don't have to go log in somewhere to a centralized place to get on it. You have your own digital wallet, you get on it and you do those things. You don't have anybody in between me and you right now. I want to do a deal with you. I do it on the blockchain. It's me and you. There's no middleman. It's verified by the blockchain. And when you start taking out middlemen, when you start adding in Web3 technologies like smart contracts, you see things explode as far as efficiencies and cost savings and your reach. All of that starts to get exponential.
got it. So then again, what would tell me like a success story of a client that you've worked with?
We're working on use case. That's how early we are. We're working on use cases now, but we know we've tested it and beta tested it. They have companies like MGM and Disney that are going into like the metaverse, and they're using, because they don't want YouTube and Google to just keep making money on the content when it's their content, right? And a chiropractor, an accountant, it should be the same way with their own business. So some of the things that we will be showing you how to do, besides like a cross-platform engagement, promotion incentives. You can encourage patients to promote your practice by sharing content and testimonials, right? You turn them into advocates. You can do monetization opportunities where you use members' passes to sell services or products. You could gamify the loyalty where you reward patients with points and prizes for their engagement. You can use AI to generate a profile and streamline really just an engagement across a bunch of platforms. So there's a bunch of things that you can do that really just built, like Hermes, Nike. Just Google some of these top brands. They are all about Web3. Web3 is all about not just doing a loyalty program where it's transactional, it's building a community, it's building a network. And all of the folks in the network have a stake in the network. So now if I want to go to talk about Dr. Roger or Dr. Stacy or any of the docs that have really helped my daughter out, for example, if I'm getting rewarded for promoting a testimonial about how great she performed in front of these coaches and she got a scholarship, and if I'm a bunch of these people that are athletes or parents that are athletes that have the same problems, and I'm telling you a testimonial about how this helped, now I'm helping drive traffic and I'm getting rewarded for it. I'm not just a fan, I'm part of that group, part of that family, part of that, and I have a stake in it.
Nice.
I'm getting rewarded for it. Even if it's just a bunch of free adjustments for my daughter or cupping and massages and supplements or whatever it may be, it's about the network working together and really scaling.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Love it. So if anyone wants to communicate with you, get in touch with you, that has more questions. I mean, I'm guessing I have more questions, which is awesome. So inspired a lot of curiosity. Where do they get in touch with you?
So I'll say this, if I could, kind of end on this, Sebastian. Go to wealthcolony.com, book a call with Matt, one of my coaches, or myself, and we could talk about, because every chiropractor is different, different areas, different services. So you almost want to customize like your plan, and then once you turn it on, it runs by itself. Okay, and there's ways that we can devise where how to get that marketing paid for, with certain investments, and there's things to discuss. But there's another thing that we also discuss a lot at Wealth Colony that I want to just plant the seed, and we could talk about it at TRP. And in June, I'll offer this free to any chiropractor, right, that is at the event, and that is a pen test. And a lot of people don't know what a pen test is, but it's a penetration test. And right now, if you want to protect your reputation as a chiropractor, your cash flow, your patient data, you should get a pen test. They cost $5,000 to $50,000, depending on the depth of it. And we can offer that for free with a certified, pen tester with a, complete background check and all the security measures. But chiropractors are a target. So are CPAs, so are doctors. And the FBI just warned that these cyber attacks are going to happen and it increased 300%. 300%. Yeah. So I give you one example. An AI is changing the game on both sides, right? So we're using AI to protect and just show. I have a really good friend who's a CPA. He's in Spring Lake, New Jersey. Okay. He's got over 1,000 clients, more. Okay. So he's a big, small CPA firm, does very well, prominent, customers and companies. And I asked him, let me do a pen test. He goes, no, I got an IT guy. And I said, I know. Is he IT guy your friend? He's like, yeah. I go, so am I. Let me just get this test done and let's just see where you're at. Why not look? And he was blown away. The cyber test partner of mine was able to show, I got your Microsoft token. I just got all of your customers' tax ID numbers. I got all the social security numbers. So vulnerable that right now you have ambulance chasers chasing, like lawyers chasing, looking for lawsuits. If your data, JP Morgan just announced that hundreds of millions of data, assets were just hacked just the other day. So this is happening and going to continue to happen. And what I'm saying is, hey, why not just make sure that you're secure in your reputation, your financial data, your customer, your client, your patient data, and get a free pen test, because we're using AI and cybersecurity as well. That's part of the whole Web3 experience, learning about cryptocurrencies, learning Web3 and what it's really about and what tools you could use to be more efficient and really, being vigilant about the whole process and really securing, all of your business, your personal data, your business data, all of the above.
Awesome.
Yep.
Joe, thank you so much, man. Looking forward to see you in Tennessee and getting some time together. I got a lot of questions, so can't wait to hook up with you, brother.
No, I'm looking, as forward to seeing you and the TRP family, in Tennessee. We're gonna have to go to Nashville and do a little, I don't know, square dancing or something. But I've heard a lot of.
Hey, do you know how to count?
I just know that you're gonna play country music at the event.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Do you like country music?
No, actually I do now, but I'm a Bronx, New York kid who grew up in hip hop and rock and roll at the same time.
Exactly. All right. I don't know. They're gonna have to pay me some money if they want me to play some country music. I know Eric Roaki wants to. All right. Hey, love you, brother. Good to see you.
You too.
See you in Nashville in June 6th. Talk soon.
All right. Thank you, Doc.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now go and be remarkable.